to the show. Take a break from the NFL ever so slightly. Talk about some college basketball, because if it's a Monday on Sports Wrap, it means Bill Bender is here from the Sporting News. He does a terrific job. Our Johnny on the spot for college football and college basketball. All right, let's jump into it. UConn loses at Marquette. Combine that with the loss at home against Creighton, which was a bad loss. They win the Big East tournament? Are they still a 1 seed? Give me the formula. Could UConn still wind up a 1 seed, or have they basically been relegated to that 2 seed with this loss against Marquette?
Well, it'll be tough to be a 1. I think they have to win the Big East tournament, and they probably need Florida to lose at this point. Florida's playing as good as anybody with their front line in the SEC, and I think they're quad 1. When you talk about teams that have won double digits in quad 1, it's those. I think Michigan and Duke could take the week off, and they're still number 1 seeds. Arizona and Florida have some level of work to do, because I think if Houston were to win the Big 12 tournament, they would be in the discussion as well. So it puts UConn in a tough spot, because as I was doing the seeding, it's like, well, St. John's won the regular season. How can you make St. John's a 5 and make UConn a 1? That math doesn't add up.
The Hurley stuff gets old for me. I've said this time and time again. The latest example of it is just, it's almost like he just lives for these moments of getting in front of the camera and being the center of attention and having these, crazy fits, these childlike tantrums. He gets fined $25,000. And look, if he hadn't won a couple of national championships, this sort of shtick would be old really fast. Does UConn just continue putting up with it just because he wins? And a secondary question on that. I still say this to this day. He's going to regret not taking the NBA job when he could have after the second national title, because it's all, it feels like it's all kind of plateaued from here, if not going downhill eventually.
That's pretty good plateau, though, to be right in the conversation as a number 1 seed and, have two of the greatest, one of the greatest teams in NCAA history, the one that blasted everybody by double digits. So I get what you're saying about that, though. At a certain point, I can't make a Bob Knight comparison here. Bob Knight was a different universe when it comes to that kind of stuff on the sideline and the rating officials. Agree. But, the more times it happens, you had the thing that happened in the tunnel last year, and then you have this, and the game was, I guess, decided. But I don't know if bad luck's the right word, or he's not going to change. Nobody changes. But maybe tone it down just a touch, right? And be serious as we get into the NCAA tournament and beyond.
Sam, go ahead.
Objectively, the funniest moment of the college basketball weekend was when Dan Hurley and Bobby Hurley, they were doing the split screen, and they were both getting ejected at the same time. It was awesome. It was great. College basketball needs... Well, I can't say more of that because I don't agree with that. But you get the point anyway. Bill, one of the other games of the weekend, yesterday between Michigan and Michigan State, and a little bit of a controversial moment for Jeremy Fears in this one. Obviously, the kicking thing, he's got there's the questionable, past, and then Izzo comes out in the post-game press conference and says, I don't make anything of it. It was a basketball play. Bill, we've got another example of a Michigan State player getting too physical on the court. What did you make of the move from Fears yesterday, and what did you take away from Michigan State?
Well, with Fears, he's labeled now, like Grayson Allen was, and Draymond Green was.
That's exactly what I was thinking of, was Grayson Allen.
It's less Draymond Green and more Grayson Allen to me, because it detracts from what is a brilliant point guard, right? Like, he's the key to their NCAA tournament, Big Ten tournament hopes. He's a really fantastic player, but when this keeps happening, every time it's going to be blown out of proportion. Even if he accidentally swings his leg up at this point, we're going to think it's dirty. On the other hand, the other end of this is, and I say this all the time, living in Central Ohio, Michigan, Ohio State's the the national rivalry, the one that we all pay attention to. It is not more nasty than Michigan State. That is one of the nastiest rivalries in football. It's one of the nastiest rivalries in basketball. It was huge for Michigan to get that sweep, which they haven't done in more than a decade. They could have lost and we would have still said Big Ten champs, but Michigan State might have, wiggled into the number 1 seed conversation. Now the Wolverines, like I said, it doesn't matter what they do in the Big Ten tournament. That's a number 1 seed.
Another just crazy moment of the maybe I'm realizing through the questions I'm asking you, Bill, I may spend just a little bit too much time on the internet, but an objectively crazy moment in the mid-majors this weekend. It was in the Patriot League semifinals between Navy and Boston University. So Navy's going down with about 5 seconds left. They get a layup to take the lead, 72-70 over Boston. Boston inbounds the ball, takes 3 dribbles up the court, puts up a heave, and it goes in. The discussion online, however, Bill, is that the clock operator did not start the clock. It was on Navy's home court, and the Navy clock operator did not start the clock in time and potentially gave BU an extra second and a half to get the shot off. What did you make of this viral clip that everybody seems to have an opinion on?
That's March. It's March. I mean, Lehigh won a game on a half-court shot that I showed that to my son, and I said, that what kind of form is that? It looks like he just shot-putted it up there and it went in. And, this is the deal when you do bracketology and those kind of things. Like last night, I was like, man, Navy's gone. Belmont's gone. These were teams that we were eyeballing for the tournament for a month. And Navy had done a fantastic job, but now you have this situation where that league got blown up, and it's amazing. This is the bet. I would put this up against anything. I think this week is better than next week. I love the conference tournament week, especially these small conference, because of the moments like you just mentioned.
You got a team outside of Miami of Ohio that we'll get into in the next segment. Do you have a team in particular that you're watching that could be a big bubble burster here in conference tournament week?
I know we all rush to try to get, hey, I was the first one to call it. You know what I mean? And at this time of year, we all try to call every 11, 12, 13 seed. But I mean, Northern Illinois or Northern Iowa doing what they did. And we've seen them do it before. That's a solid team. And the way that they went through their conference tournament, which was somewhat unexpected, they're going to cause some people some problems. Now, I know we'll talk about Miami next, and we can get into the reasons why they will be a problem, but we'll do that later.
All right, Bill Bender hanging out for one more segment, talking college basketball with him. It's conference tournament week. Lots more to do on Sports Rep. Don't go anywhere. Coming up in 10 minutes, Jerry Bonkowski talks NASCAR. Somebody other than Tyler Reddick won a race this week. Bill Bender, conversation continues with him. The Sporting News does a terrific job on all things college football, college basketball. He's your everything guy. We call these guys glue guys on the show. So Miami of Ohio, I hope you didn't mind. I hope you didn't mind my texting you incessantly on Friday night as I was sitting in my darkened living room watching Ohio University try to knock off Miami as the only unbeaten left in college basketball. What a terrific college basketball game, though. And you said it was, arguably the best game we've seen in this entire college basketball season. And, it's these two teams that nobody would otherwise at the beginning of the season even be thinking of, Bill.
Yeah, and I'm glad that, my alma mater, Ohio University, brought a lot of casual viewers into the world of Athens, Ohio, and how the convo works at 9 o'clock at night after the students had all day, who they stayed before leaving for spring break to go hit Court Street for a while and created an amazing environment that Miami was able to win the game. All respect to the Red Hawks. They made the shots. Now, between my text with you and then my text with my editors and then my text with my OU buddies, those were 3 very different threads. And the one with the OU buddies went from we kind of like Miami by the end of the night. I hope they lose. I hope they're a bubble team. It was all that. But what a wonderful team they really are. And they should be in the tournament no matter what happens this week.
It's just crazy that we're having this conversation.
Right.
That you even have to put in that sentence at the end.
Right.
Is just mind-boggling to me. And I get it. They're like 352 out of 355 in terms of strength of schedule. I get it. But they're a Division I team that goes undefeated in the regular season. They have to be in the tournament, Bill.
Yeah, and they've won their last 3 games by 2 points, and sometimes that happens when you're undefeated. Ohio, that would have been a season maker. It would have been the Court Street Bars would have had a very nice night. Pavletsky had a great game.
Oh, he was great.
Where else? I think we were texting back and forth, and I was just like willing that ball to go in the basket there at the end. But wonderful game by him and a wonderful response by Miami. Obviously, a lot's being made about the end of the game, but I'll say it this both ways. As somebody that may or may not have sat in that student section a few times when he was in college, I have a pretty good idea what those Miami players were hearing. But still got to ignore it. I mean, that's what we were all talking about afterward instead of, hey, they're 31-0. It was, hey, look at these guys and how they responded to the OU student section.
Yeah, they were feeling themselves pretty good. Sam, go ahead.
So, real quick, on the Miami thing, I know that, everyone's talking about if they lose, will they get... Do you think they're going to lose in the MAC tournament? I know they're not the favorites to win the whole thing, but, Bill, you pay attention to the MAC better than, anyone else. Do you think that Miami's going to win the MAC tournament or not?
They should. Akron will be a factor in that with John Gross, who, by the way, I believe John Gross and Travis Steele are like brother-in-law or something. There's a relationship there, and they definitely coached, off that Xavier coaching tree. So that will be interesting if those two cross paths. I mean, there's a chance that Ohio may play Miami again, and what better way to spoil it than get round 3, those kind of things. So they'll have some landmines in the MAC tournament, but what it creates, if you're a bubble team like an Auburn or an Indiana or New Mexico right now, you want Miami to win the MAC tournament.
Yeah.
You want them not. So, because I'm telling you, if Miami loses, there should be, and I think there will be, 2 MAC tournament teams. And that's what VCU and St. Louis better be paying attention to, too.